So we continue with our class, A Woman's Guide to Practical Halachah, and we start with the Sefer Shmiras Haloshon, and the topic today is do whatever you can, part 1. And it says, the Torah scholar once posed the following question: if one has failed to concentrate while reciting Shema prayer, and finds himself near its conclusion, with what approach can he inspire himself to pray the remainder of the prayer, with a proper concentration? The scholar offered the solution by the way of the parable. So, and it happens, as we know, it happens to the best of us, even to the best of us. So you pray, and you continue turning the pages, and then you ask yourself, did I really say all of these words? Like, really? Did I? Right? And even though it was only a few seconds ago, you do not remember. Okay, it happened to me a few times, for sure, unfortunately, right? So what is the solution? Okay, I'm closer to the end. Okay, for sure, since I turned the pages, maybe I sent something, most likely, right? The young girl, so it's very famous parable. A young girl was standing in a marketplace with a large basket of apples for sale. Suddenly a thief approached and began to snatch apples from out of her basket. The girl became confused and stood helplessly, not knowing what to do. Someone who was watching from a distance called out to her, "What are you standing still? What are you waiting for?" That he should grab everything. Just as he is grabbing, you should also grab whatever you can to get whatever you can get will still be yours, right? Whatever you can get, so he is stealing, okay, that's beyond your control, but what is up to you is whatever you can save, right? Same as us. And so it is regarding the prayer. If one was overcome with lethargy, right, and mindlessness, daydreaming, at the start of the Shemona Esrei, and suddenly finds himself near the prayer's end without having grabbed any apple, so in double quotes, right? This does not mean that he should give up and leave himself with nothing. Rather, he should strive with all his inner strength to concentrate on the remainder of the blessing. And now, like after a person realizes the way I see it, right? The way I see that when person realizes what he's missing, right? That he missed a lot of the prayer, so he would be like very eager and would have a better concentration. And I see the same in all of the study in my students particularly. So younger fellows, they are a little relaxed, but people in the 30s and 40s and 50s, they see like how much they missed in their previous years, and now they go in like full force. Nobody can stop them. You understand? So they understand how much they miss. So trying to get the gain as much as possible, which is very commendable. And so it is exactly with Shmiras Haloshon. You stumbled this morning and spoke the forbidden, then stand ready in this afternoon to overcome the evil inclination and refrain from forbidden talk. So you stumble, continue, like even be more vigilant, right? And if you fail in the afternoon, nevertheless strengthen yourself to battle with more tomorrow. Surely Hashem will help you to succeed. For it says, it's very important quote, one who seeks to purify himself is granted heavenly assistance, from Shabbos 104a. So it's in the Shmiras Haloshon in everything. So if you pray, if you ask for Hashem, and for example, I asked for Hashem for something this Friday, because it was I knew it's not going to happen. It was clear miracle, and guess what? During the Shabbat, it happened, right? Because I asked and I prayed very, very hard, and Hashem did open miracles for me personally. Baruch Hashem. Even though I thought it is impossible. Okay, so continue. So our big topic is delay and accepting Shabbos. Okay. So for as we said last time, for men it's more easy, but for women it's not so simple. because she usually accepts Shabbos with the candle lighting. Okay, so next one is Yom Tov candle lighting. On the night of Yom Tov, when the lighting of a candle is permitted, even after Yom Tov has begun, custom varies as to whether to make a bracha before the lighting of the candles or to keep the usual order of Shabbos. Lighting the candles first and then reciting the brachos. So before we continue, no, actually that's the whole piece. Okay, so as we said last time, so we have two different customs for women how to light the candles, right? So one is Ashkenazi custom. First they light the candles, then they close the eyes, then they say the blessing. So it's very different from all other instances. In all other instances, first we say blessing and then we do action. But here it's different because we follow the logic. We're not allowed to light candles on Shabbos, right? So we're not allowed to create fire. And with the lighting of the candles, with a blessing, a person accepts Shabbos. Okay, so based on this logic, so first she lights and then say blessing, and that's it. There is no problem. No problem meaning she cannot light any longer, but she can extinguish a match if she wants, like after the lighting, because she did not accept Shabbos until after she said the blessing. But Sephardi custom is different. No, they say according to their Chachamim, there is no problem. First, they do exactly as with all other rituals. First, they say blessing, and then they light the candles. So for them, it's I'm not going to go into details. It's not the purpose of this class, but just to know the rationale. So according to they rely on the poskim. They say that she accepts the Shabbos with the lighting of the candles, not with the blessing, but with the lighting. So for them, that's what they do on Shabbos. And here's the Yom Tov. Yom Tov is very interesting. So on Yom Tov, we are allowed to light the candles or start your stove with something from pre-existing flame. So usually people leave some like flame in a stove, or they use yard-side memorial candles for 2 days, for 48 hours, that's the most common. And from this light you can take light and you can light the candles. So the question that this author is asking, so it's very interesting question. Even for Ashkenazim who would first light the candle, say blessing, because with a blessing she would accept Shabbos, or in this case Yom Tov. But since on Yom Tov you're allowed to light candles, so why don't reverse the order and do first say blessing and then light the candles, so she would not violate anything, right? So even though it is permissible, so she can do if she want to, but our custom is do not change the order. So do exactly as you always do. In this case, you're not going to make a mistake. Should I do this first or that first? And people get confused, especially with doing not very often, like how many holidays we have. Only several holidays when you're obligated to light candles. But if she did it opposite in reverse, there is no problem whatsoever. One more time, because you're allowed to light candles on Yom Tov. Right, and that's actually what we do when we light the candles for the second day of Yom Tov. You're allowed perfectly. It's still Yom Tov, but you're allowed to light the candles. Continue. Delay in accepting Shabbos. Oh, okay, so I apologize. So that was not the topic. So I apologize. The big topic is a second. Halachal Neiros, Hadlakas Neiros. It's lighting of the candles. So now topic is delay in acceptance of Shabbos. There are certain instances when a woman can light the Shabbos candles and nevertheless not accept Shabbos upon herself. If she makes a tenai, stipulation, that she is not yet accepting Shabbos, either verbally or mentally, then it is not Shabbos for her until the sunset arrives. Okay, So let's finish reading, and then we're going to explain. Nevertheless, this loophole, I'm not sure why he's calling loophole, may be utilized only if there is a special need, such as a woman must still daven mincha, or she must still make preparation for her leil tevilah. Okay, we're going to explain. And one should ask halachic authority in such a situation to determine if it qualifies for adequate need. So let's see. And actually, we're going to add other authorities, other leniencies. So if there are other leniencies, we actually can rely on other leniencies. So usually, as we said before, a woman accepts Shabbos when she lights the candles. Right, when she said blessing, she light the candles. Okay, but sometimes she needs to do something else. For example, she's afraid that if she's going to light the candles, she would forget to daven mincha, or she would not have enough time after mincha to light the candles. So even though technically you can start mincha before the sunset, and according to many opinions, even after sunset, if it's not proper, but still. Even if you start 1 minute before sunset, you can continue and finish in case of the need. But if she would start mincha now, she would miss the candle lighting, right? So since it is a mitzvah to daven mincha, so she would light the candles, right? And in her mind, she said it's not Shabbos yet. She cannot accept Shabbos. Because if she said that it's Shabbos, how can she daven weekday mincha? Right? Logically, it's contradictory. So that's why she would say, I'm not going to accept Shabbos here. And even though they say that you can do this stipulation mentally, I would say it's better to do it verbally. For just speak out for yourself, just to hear you save speaking. Right? It's because sometimes people think that that's what they thought, but in reality it is not. They meant to think about in all of the details, but they did not. But when you say it out loud, for sure it's good. Okay, so and this leniency, he's calling it loophole. I'm not sure it's loophole. It sounds to me very illegal, but there is nothing illegal about it. So one exception when she needs to daven mincha, and another she needs to do preparation for leil tevilah. So sometimes a woman her night to go to the mincha to mikveh to daven go to down to mikveh is actually Friday night, and in many mikvahs they actually open. So the one next to us, not far from us, they open. So of course you have to prepay money. That's what they require. Otherwise, you when you come, it's already Shabbos, right? It's Friday night. It's Shabbos for sure. So you're not allowed to dip before the sun. So it's after sunset, after nightfall. It's different customs. Sephardim more lenient, and Ashkenazim is more strict. So they usually ask in the mikveh, so in the one that we use, right? You're Ashkenazic or Sephardic, or they know you, so they know they would put you a little later. So sometimes a woman may make appointment a little earlier, right? But they say, you're Ashkenazic, no, you have to wait, because by according to your custom, because not all of the women so knowledgeable, so you have to wait another 15 minutes. So it's not a big deal, 15 minutes, but still, or she goes to prepare. Okay. So other needs, for example, she needs to go to I don't know. I would say some if she needs to drive somewhere, right, or somebody would need to drive her somewhere. For example, the whole family is going over to someone, so that's very common. So they would drive one way, so leave the car there and then walk home. So just to save themselves a walk. But she would light the candles in the home if she wants to. So she makes the stipulation, does not accept Shabbos. Okay, and the last one in this chapter. Deriving benefits from the candles. It's very, very important, extremely important. And many people, as we said before, they fail in this miserably, unfortunately. So it said the candles that are lit for the purpose of the mitzvah are not allowed to be used for one's own personal benefit other than from illumination, because it would be considered disgrace for the mitzvah to do so. However, when we light other Shabbos candles from that candle that has already been lit, as that is not considered disrespectful, it is customary not to light even a match from the from one of the existing flames, even if it is for the purpose of additional Shabbos candles. So let's try to understand. So these candles, these lights that we, doesn't matter how many candles we lit. So it's they all lit for a mitzvah, and you're not allowed to use it for something else. Of course, you're allowed to read by it, and then besides, it's very proper. If you don't use these candles for some practical purpose, so this your candle lighting was in vain, and it's bracha levatala, which is a big sin, right? But it's also disrespectful to use it for some other purposes. Like, well, what is it to light the candle, to match and continue lighting for other candles, which is a big problem. Okay, and same for Hanukkah candles, actually. Okay, any questions on what we said? So we finish that chapter. Okay, no questions. Continue. So next chapter. So he does not have numbers, but just a topic. Friday night Kiddush, the obligation. There is a mitzvah in the Torah to recite Kiddush on Friday night, based on the pasuk that tells us Zachor, to remember Shabbos, which we additionally interpret to mean the mentioning Shabbos. Okay, so from the beginning we see that mitzvah of Kiddush on Friday night is from the Torah. It's very, very important. So it's very, very different and much more strict from Kiddush that we do on Shabbos morning. Shabbos morning it's from rabbis, from the Rabbanan, right? But this one is much more stricter. Women are obligated in this mitzvah just as much as men. Okay, despite the fact that there is a mitzvah that comes at a set time. So it's very interesting. So as we said before, most of the mitzvahs, not all of the mitzvahs, but most of the mitzvahs that are connected to time that you can do only a specific time. So women are not obligated. Like for example, we said saying Shema, right? It's only a specific time, or daven shacharis, it's only a specific time. So she's not obligated, but there is other things that she is obligated, right? But this one, this Friday night Kiddush, even though it is specific time, right, after we accepted Shabbos, so she is still obligated. Why? Because it's a Torah commandment. Since in the Har Sinai, Hashem announced the Chor and Shamor simultaneously, they are compared to each other. Just as a woman are commanded to guard the Shabbos from the prohibitive commandments, they are also commanded in the positive commandments. That's very interesting. So, and we have to elaborate on it. So, even though women are not obligated in some of the positive commandments, they all of them obligated in all of the negative commandments. Right, so they just they're not allowed to violate any negative commandment, right? And it's very interesting. So how this I'm trying to see, it's this explanation is from Shulchan Aruch, 271:2. Okay, so he said when Hashem said Zachor v'Shamor, like two words meaning. Garden and enjoy, right? So it corresponds to the positive mitzvah that you have to do, like active mitzvah, and some things to stay away. And since it was said simultaneously as one, like in the same saying as only Hashem can do, right? So since they are obligated in all of the negative, right? All of the prohibition, they, in this case, this specific case, they also obligated in positive commandments of the Shabbos. Okay, it's very interesting. Continue. Who may recite Kiddush? The accepted practice is that there is a man, if there is a man present, over the age of Bar Mitzvah, he is the one to recite Kiddush, while the others listen and fulfill the obligation with them. Okay. Each individual, both the one who recited and those who listen to the Kiddush, must have in mind that they are all be included in the same Kiddush. Okay. So it's like if it's a family environment, yeah, absolutely. So like head of the household, so he would say Kiddush if he's not there, father, let's say, not there, or he's sick, he's, I don't know, he's away. So it's proper for a boy, if there's boy above Bar Mitzvah, it's proper for him to do Kiddush, not for a woman. If she's a single mother, or her husband is not there and kids are younger, so of course she says the Kiddush. It's there is no question about it, right? But proper for a man. Okay. Okay, and very important, since one person is going to say Kiddush for everybody, so it has to be double link. So for example, if I say Kiddush, I must include in my mind, I must include everybody around the table in my Kiddush, right? So I'm doing on my behalf and on behalf of all the people around the table, and all of the people around the table must have in mind, right, to be included in my Kiddush. So if one of the link is missing and the person did not fulfill his obligation, right? So if person said, no, I am going to do my own Kiddush, right? Let's say, and he or she, right, or he failed to do so. I mean, he changed his mind, so he was not included in my Kiddush. So for example, one of my guests, so he must now do his own Kiddush. But if he was undecided, say, yeah, I'm going to go with his Kiddush, and then he changed his mind, he wants to do his own, there is no problem. And same is the head of the household, whoever is in charge of the Kiddush. Like this person has to have explicitly in mind that I want to include everybody. It's very, very important. Continue. In a situation when there is no man present, or when none of the men are able to recite Kiddush, when a woman is then a woman is permitted to say it, and she may include the men in her Kiddush, right? She may include other women and children in her Kiddush as well. So in some cases, as we explained before, if the level of obligation is not the same, so that person cannot include me, for example, in his blessing, right, or in his Kiddush. For example, if child can, a child is allowed to say Kiddush, right, and he can include this, let's say the child 10 years old, right, so he can include in his Kiddush all of the other kids, there is no problem whatsoever, right, but he cannot include me, because even though all of the kids above the age of Chinuch, let's say 6-7 years old, the obligation to say Kiddush is rabbinic, right? Always rabbinic, right? Whatever they do, it's always rabbinic. Nothing is biblical. But for me, it is biblical. So he cannot fulfill, include me in his Kiddush. But I can include him because my obligation is biblical and he's rabbinical. So, but since, as we said before, our obligation over women are biblical, so she can include me. So because of the tznius, because of the modesty issues, so we say let the woman, especially if it's if it's not her family, right? If it's not her family, it's better not to say Kiddush. But in a situation when there is nobody else, their guest, or they cannot talk for whatever, they ignoramos, they do not know how to read, but I'm not sure how today is possible. So you just give them to read in their own language, and there is no problem. They can read in any language, Kiddush, and they can fulfill the obligation. So it's better to them to read in any language than this woman to stand, even though she dressed like modest, and say Kiddush in front of the men. It's absolutely not appropriate, and that's why women should not teach in public Torah, right? Even like to give speeches, right? So it's your son bar mitzvah, and she would stand up and talk. It's absolutely not proper. Okay, because of the laws of the modesty. Okay, but husband is sick, he has fever, he this that, so she can say absolutely. She can say Kiddush, include her kids, him, and everybody else. No problem. Continue. Any questions before we continue? Okay, no problem. So continue. Listening to Kiddush. Listen to the Kiddush. Those who listen to the Kiddush should listen carefully to every word. Although there are certain words that aren't as vital as to fulfill the mitzvah or as others, nevertheless, one should certainly strive to hear every single word. If one misses listening to the paragraph beginning Vaychalu is the first paragraph, right? She nevertheless fulfilled her obligation. If one misses the bracha of Hagefen, she also fulfilled her obligation. But if she wants to drink from the wine, she must make her own bracha. Okay, so let's stop here and explain. Okay, so in Kiddush there are three paragraphs, right? So first Vaychalu, then blessing, then concluding paragraph with concluding blessing. So of course, as the authors say, she and everybody else around the table must listen to every word very carefully. But if she would miss something like from the first paragraph, so and this paragraph is when we actually, like I would say, you have to look at the candles lit, the whole paragraph. I mean, especially people who just participate, who is not maybe the leader does not know the text by heart, so he can read, no problem. But others can look at the candles. That would be proper, right? So if she would miss the first paragraph, okay, after the fact, no problem. But just note, for men, it's proper. And our sages say, and some sages say it's a must. Okay, so if men would miss some words in this way, the first paragraph, so he must say during the meal. So he can always fill his glass, his own glass, and say the first paragraph. But women not obligated. Okay, right? But if she would miss the second paragraph, which is blessing on the wine, so she must repeat, because if she is going to drink the wine, so usually we distribute wine to all of the participants. So and before eating or before drinking, you must say blessing, unless somebody else said it for you and you were included. So this person who was making Kiddush, of course, he included everybody. But if she did not hear every word, right, and even if she said amen, did not say amen, it's irrelevant. If she did not hear every word, so it's questionable if she's allowed to drink. That's why, right, she's obligated to say her own blessing. Continue. Anyone who fulfills the mitzvah by listening to Kiddush must stand or sit in one spot and not walk around the room. So usually in a family, if you live in in a smaller house, there is no room to walk, so everybody around the table. But maybe in somewhere in the suburbs, when they have a huge dining room, so that people can walk. So it's proper to stay in your seat. You sit or you stand, whatever your tradition is. So as we explained before, everybody have different tradition. Or did we say before? We did not say before in this class. So just to remind us, so that there are different traditions how to say Kiddush. So the literature, like Ashkenaz, right? So they sit throughout the whole Kiddush, right? But many people, so Sephardim, they follow more Kabbalah, right? And they stand. Right? They stand and they sit by when they drink. Okay, so many Hasidim do the same, right? Stand, right, and then sit by when you drink. And there is a third tradition that the first paragraph they stand, and then before saying Bareprich girlfriend they sit, and they continue sitting until the end of the Kiddush. So whatever tradition you pick is good, or whatever is whatever you want. But what we follow tradition. So we stand until the end, and just before we drink, we sit. And it included the one who is in charge and the one who is the one who is doing Kiddush and everybody else. But of course, if you have elderly people at the table and kids, little kids, they cannot stand this. Okay, they can sit. There is no violation whatsoever. Okay, continue. But what he said, just stay in one spot. Don't go walk around. It's from Mishnah Brura. It is so. The practical explanation is because people would not be able to concentrate. Okay. Continue. It is preferable that everyone listening to the Kiddush drink from wine. Okay. There is no suggested minimum. Even a tiny sip is sufficient. Okay. So you drink everybody, you give everybody wine. So the most important thing is that the person who makes Kiddush drinks enough wine. So the minimum, as we said before, it was lo lugmav. It means the cheek full. Right, it's 1.7 ounces approximately, plus minus. Right, and the proper amount, if one can drink, it would be 1 revi'is. And the revi'is for Friday night, since it's biblical, so they varies from 3.2 to 4.2 to 5.2 ounces, right? But if it's light wine, for example, right, there is no problem, you can drink. Okay, continue. So, but for all other people, there is no minimum. They can do a little sip. They already fulfilled the obligation. Even if they don't drink anything, they fulfill the obligation by these leaders drinking. However, even if someone listened to the Kiddush, did not drink from Kiddush at all, okay, she fulfilled the obligation, exactly. Therefore, one who is not allowed to drink wine or grape juice for dietary or health reasons, or simply very much dislike the taste, is still able to fulfill the mitzvah by listening to someone make the Kiddush. So, for example, somebody that diabetic and they cannot drink wine, even the drying wine, it's not good for them, so no, there is no problem. So they're not obligated to drink, so she's not obligated to drink. And or some people do not like wine, period. Okay, so the one who does Kiddush, he must drink or he must give to somebody else. So one person, or it can be divided by multiple people, they must drink. Continue. Someone who spoke after Kiddush has completed, after the Kiddush has completed, but before taking a drink, has nevertheless fulfilled the mitzvah. Yet, if that person wants to drink from wine, she must make her own bracha of a geffen. Okay, so some people have exactly zero patience, right? And the Kiddush is like the person who was conducting the Kiddush, he finished, and he sat down to drink, let's say, right? So he sat down to drink, and somebody spoke, so like it's already over. So now if she wants to drink wine, she must make her own blessing. So everybody else are covered by that person's original blessing, but she must make her own blessing. Why? As we learned in Halachos of Brachos, is because it was interruption. So if it would be for the purpose of the meal, it would be different. But since it's like for something else, she must make her own blessing, different blessing. Continue. Any questions on what we said? I'll continue. I'm not sure with everybody. Maybe because of this issue connection. No, okay. Yeah. We're good. Baruch Hashem. The best people are here. Okay. So continue. Next part. Netilat Yadayim before Kiddush. Netilat Yadayim before Kiddush. Some family have a custom to wash Netilat Yadayim even before Kiddush is recited. They feel that Kiddush is not considered as unnecessary interruption, since it is essential requirement for the upcoming meal. The basis for this course of action is that in the event that one does not have wine or grape juice, Kiddush on Friday night may be recited over the Challah. In such a case, one would obviously need to wash before Kiddush, and then follow the regular order of Kiddush, substituting Geffen with Muktzeh. In order to maintain the uniform practice, these families always wash before Kiddush, even when using wine. Those who do not have this family custom should not act in this manner just for the sake of convenience. It's from Mishnah Brura and Shar Chatzin. So let's explain. So for some people it sounds very, very strange, but it's actually not strange at all. And there is specific. I know there is some community that's what they do, right? In the beginning, right? That's Lechem. That's their custom. So if you don't have this custom, as the authors say, and I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it if you don't have this custom. Okay, so what is the custom? Okay, so they before starting Kiddush, so they go wash their hands, Netilat Yadayim, right, with blessing, with everything, and then come and they sit around the table or stand around the table, and the person says Kiddush, right? And so first paragraph, second paragraph, as we said, is we say blessing on the wine, right? Third paragraph. And then after they finish, right? He says chamotzi and start eating bread, right? So after drinking wine, they say chamotzi and start eating bread. So and logic is, so you say how is it possible? It was such a long interruption, but the rationale is that if person does not have a wine, right, on Friday night or any Kiddush, even on Shabbos day, but okay, let's leave it at that, right? So we are allowed to make Kiddush on Challos. There is no problem. So you're allowed to make on two breads, right? On two breads you're allowed to do Kiddush. So, and if for example you do not have wine, so that's what you're going to do, exactly what you're going to do. You would wash your hands, say Kiddush, but in the middle, when usually people say Berepricho Geffen on a wine, right? So you say Chamotzi, you say the last paragraph, right, after you say Chamotzi, and it's not considered an interruption because it's for the sake of the meal, and then you finish this last paragraph, everybody say Amen, and then you start cutting challah and eat challah. It's very interesting. Okay, so but I mean in like extraordinary situation, that's what we're going to do. But Baruch Hashem, I mean so far I never did this in my life, right? We always had like wine or grape juice or something. I mean, but you never know what circumstances you can get into. And I have some students, so they, fortunately, they live in this poor country and they cannot buy kosher wine, period. That's it. So they never, like once in like, maybe for Pesach they would buy wine, and sometimes like maybe one in 3, 4, 5 months they would buy the bottle of wine, but otherwise, because they're not rich and because the wine, kosher wine there is very expensive, so they do only on Challos. That's unfortunate. I mean that's what they do. Okay. Okay. So, but as we said, unless it is your custom, you for sure know your custom, don't do it, because you're going to get people around the table confused. You're going to confuse yourself, especially if you like always do unwind. Why should we change your custom? Okay, but if your custom, continue. Okay, any questions? Okay, so no question, we can continue. So we continue with Lechem Mishneh. And the first one is obligation. One uses 2 whole loaves at each of the 3 Shabbos meals. This is the remembrance of the fact that the man fell as a double portion of Friday because it did not fall on Shabbos. This is called Lechem Mishneh, which means double bread. This requirement of Lechem Mishneh is an obligation for women as well, since it is commemorate the miracle of man, in which they were included. They were equally obligated. So let's stop here and try to understand. So Lechem Mishneh means meaning 2 breads. So in Shabbos we have 3 meals, 3 obligatory meals, which is Friday night, Shabbos morning, and Shabbos afternoon. So, and even though many women are not careful or not careful enough with the Torah meal, still the obligation did not change. Just because somebody is not careful, law does not change. As Rabbi Reuven Shlita always say, we don't learn the Judaism from observant people. We learn Judaism from the books. That's right. So okay, so we have 3 meals, and everybody is obligated in 3 meals. So some say that you're not obligated to eat bread at 3rd meal, but it's very, very proper, and not only proper, as most of the poskim say, you have to have double bread. Okay, double bread, Lechem Mishneh, and even women. So why women are included? So if it's in some sense it's a mitzvah that connected to time. So same as we explained before. They heard this Shamor Vezachor, so for positive commandments and negative commandments as well. And plus another reason, the miracle of man was performed for women as well. So what was it? On Friday morning, the double portion of man fell next to their houses, right? And Hashem said to Moshe, whatever you're going to cook, whatever you're going to bake. For tomorrow it's not going to be any man. Okay. So in the commemoration of this double portion, we have 2 breads. Right? It's a big miracle, big mercy of Hashem. Right? Additionally, women are obligated in all the positive commandments of Shabbos. Right? Those falling under the rubric of Zachor, right? Meaning enjoyment, because they are obligated in all negative commandments, who's fallen under the rubric of Shamor. Okay, so Shamor is negative, Zachor is positive. So let me check time. Okay, continue. It's positive. So next one is whole loaves. So first we said how many loaves? 2. Now we say that they must be whole. I mean, must be at least like very, very preferable. The 2 loaves of challah used for Lechem Mishneh should be whole, meaning you did not cut. So that's why it's very proper to have like 5 rolls of 5 breads. So of course it depends on your family size, right? So but if family is not big, or you have small children, they don't eat much bread, for example. So you don't waste money. You make smaller rolls, or buy smaller, so you would have double, but you not have like too much left over. Okay. But they should be whole. Some poskim state that if the loaves are missing tiny amount, equivalent to approximately 2% of the loaf, the challah is considered whole. But 2%, as we understand, is not a lot. So I remember like visiting the family. They have a little Dora, and then she liked the challah, and they left by accident. They told me like she would snatch the challah from the table, and they were very careful not to leave there. And the guy was talking to me, and he left the challah on the table, and she came. I don't know, she was 3 years old. I don't know, and she bit a little from the challah, but we then applied this halakha, right? So it was just a little tiny piece missing, so we were able to use that loaf as a second and considered to be whole. Very interesting. So very practical. Others feel it needs to be completely whole. Okay, with this, okay, no problem. Continue. In all, but we can always rely on this 2% opinion. So if 2% is missing, it's like it's whole. Okay, if needed. So just told you the practical example. Okay, continue. In all opinions, tiny crumbs that fall from the challah or matzah do not qualify them from being whole. Do not disqualify them from being whole. So, okay, like tiny pieces fallen, especially from matzah, right? Maybe not from challah, but from matzah, of course, there is some pieces fall, no problem. Many poskim write that the second challah, which will not be eaten at the meal, may be a frozen loaf. However, even if not frozen, the second challah should not be in bag. However, even if not frozen, the second challah should. Okay, so technically, so for example, I said make this small rolls, but some people they don't have ability, no time, or whatever they don't have. So technically, they can take from refrigerator the frozen challah, even though you as it is, you'll not be able to eat it, right? But it's irrelevant, right? So you can use it as a second challah. All right. Of course, you're going to cut the first one, eat the first one. This you're going to put back into the freezer, but it does not matter. Right, so in the last sentence you said, however, even not frozen, the second challah should not be in the bag. So it's in the bag, it's like some disrespect. Okay, so next piece is covering Challos. It is well known that on Shabbos table is said, the Lechem Mishneh are covered with a cloth. Two reasons are given in the commentaries. First, bread would generally have precedence over the wine in a regular sequence of brachos. We cover the challah, so it should not be insulted when wine is used first. Okay, so let's try to understand. So when it's only on Shabbos and holidays, not in all other occasions, right? It's only exception. When you need to do a Kiddush, so Kiddush you do over the wine, right? So, right. So in all of these cases, when you do Kiddush all of the wine, so you must cover challah. Why are you covering challah? Because usually it's not the orders. For example, if you have a family gathering and you want to drink some wine, for example, right? So you would go wash your hands for bread, right? Do muktzeh, and then if you want to drink wine, so you say separate blessing during the meal, because the bread does not cover wine, right? But in this case, so because bread is more proper than is more not proper, is more important than wine, more, right? But since here it's obligation, we cannot start eating bread until we make a Kiddush. So it's like in some sense we are forced. So, and not to insult bread, insult in double quotes, but right, we start to be very concerned with right, with even objects, inanimate objects feelings. So needless to say, how much we must be careful with the people's feeling, right? Not to insult people, not to put them in a comfortable situation, right? So we cover this wine, this bread, and after we made the blessing of hamotzi, we uncover it, But until we finish the blessing, we do not uncover. So that's the first reason, not to insult. Second, it is a remembrance of man in a midbar, which was covered with the layers of dew. Right? Some poskim write that the challah does not need to be covered at Seudah Shlishis, since the Kiddush is not recited at the meal. Okay, so and let's discuss the second reason. So in a desert, of course, the man was, as we said, on a floor, on the ground, right? So if you put something on the ground, it's going to get dirty. So Hashem, what he did a layer of a dew on the ground, man on top, and on top of it, it was covered with a layer of dew. That's why it's proper to have a plate or something like they sell a challah boards or whatever you do. You don't have challah boards, you can use plate. There is no problem. So to put some on a table, right? Let's say board, challah board or plate, put challah, and on top, and then on top you cover. So it resembles how the man was in the desert. Right, and the last sentence that he said in the last meal, like after mincha or like in afternoon meal, this the third meal, we do not cover challah because there is no wine. Even though some people say, very minority opinion, that you should say kiddush, but let them say kiddush. Like general approach, we do not say kiddush. We just eat meal and that's it. Okay. Continue. The challah should be covered on the bottom as well, since the dew was also beneath man. Okay. One may rely on tablecloth to serve as a layer underneath the challah. Very interesting. So since there is such opinion, so of course, as we said before, you can rely on these opinions. If you don't have a plate, you don't have a challah board, whatever reason, so this tablecloth, it's not part of the table, so it's not exactly on the ground, right? So you can use as a tablecloth as a bottom layer. But where are you going to cut this challah? That's a different question. I mean, you're not going to cut it on tablecloth, I hope. Okay. So continue. Next one, dipping in salt. The challah is dipped in salt before it is eaten, because it shows more respect for the bracha when the challah tastes best way possible, right? So the commentary point out that this is the reason did not apply today, since our bread do not need additional salt added to them. Okay, so let's continue reading. I want to see what he says and we explain. However, additional reasons are offered as to why we dip challah in salt. Our tables are compared to mizbeach, and the carbonos were salted. Also, salt protects from evil punishments. Many are particular to dip into salt even during the week, not only on Shabbos. So let's try to understand. So dip in the salt. I'm surprised he did not mention 3 times. So there is actually custom to dip into salt, like after you cut your bread, pita, whatever you eat, still bread. So you dip 3 times into salt. But if you want, no problem. So an original explanation was it from Mishneh because it's going to taste better. But today they especially if you buy challah, even if you do it yourself, doesn't matter. It's usually perfect. I mean, me personally, I like to add a little salt, but it's personal preference, right? So right, but some commentaries say today Tosafos Brachos. Okay. So I'm not sure. This is some commentaries from Tosafos. It's from many hundreds years ago, so it's very interesting. So they say maybe today does not apply, but okay, we still do it. So, but the second reason, so our dining table, is considered at the altar. Like, and when we bring, when we put the food on the table, it's like we bring into the altar, and when we say all of the blessing, we sanctify, and these foods around our table becomes holy. So, and if you read it in Torah, it says, "So I give you a covenant of salt." So this salt, meaning on altar, was always salt. They would salt the meat. So it's proper on your table. Always on, for example, a person have two tables, like dining tables, and counter the top table, right? Counter at what you can eat, right? So make sure that on all of these tables you have salt. Very important, right? And the third reason, they say the salt protects from evil punishments. So Rima. So Rima is not into midrashim. He's into halacha. So if he says that's what it is, right? Okay. So, and very interesting. The last sentence says many have a particular custom to eat bread and salt even during the week. But that's what we do. I mean, when you're going to say blessing, when you're going to say hamotz, we dip into the bread, into the salt. Okay, a few minutes. Okay, so let's do one more, and we go into questions. Okay, so the last piece, topic: washing dishes on Shabbos. The Shulchan Aruch writes that one may wash dishes on Shabbos only if they will be needed against that Shabbos. This is true even if it's not definite that they will be used. As long as there is a chance that they will be needed, it is permitted to wash them. Otherwise, it is not permitted because it is tircha, bother. That is not for the sake of Shabbos. Okay, so let's stop here and try to explain. So if people ate, right, and she sees that they would need dishes for the next day, for Shabbos morning, and she needs plates or she needs bowls to serve salad. How many salads? She did not decide yet. How many bowls? Which bowls? She did not decide yet. So technically, she can wash all of the bowls, right? Even though she for sure she is going to have only 2 salads, but since all of them are suitable, they're a little different, this color, shape, or whatever, right? So she can technically wash all of them if she wants to, right? Because she might need them tomorrow. Okay, but only if for sure she needs for tomorrow. But otherwise, just to wash dishes to kill time of Shabbos, it's absolutely forbidden. Likewise, if it is not respectful Shabbos day to have soiled dishes in a counter or the sink. Then they too may be washed because that legitimate Shabbos needs. Poskim, right? So I would say if something is smelly, I mean, like after sometimes I smell like, I would say like for after fish, right? When you eat fish, it's nice and delicious, but when your plate stays there long enough, it starts smelling not good. So I would say it's the better solution, the easier solution would be just to soak them in there is a dish pan, right? The plastic dish pan, and you add some water, like right? Add some water, even soap. And you can put all of the dishes right in that dish pan, and that's it. So they're not going to smell, and they're going to soak there, and it's absolutely allowed. Poskim, and no smell, no dishes, everything like arranged in a proper way. Poskim writes that so too is individual who is personally bothered by the mess dishes. Cause is also allowed to wash those dishes if there is no other place to put them. Okay, so if they're soiled, you're allowed to, and it bothers you, right? And it's like a disrespect for Shabbos. So some people have a tiny room, right? The whole dining room and kitchen and everything in one room, tiny room. So, and with all of these dirty dishes, it's like wherever you look, it's dirty dishes, right? So, would be allowed to wash, and some people are very particular. They want everything nice and clean and neat. So okay, so if they would leave dirty dishes, they would be bothered, like would annoy them. Is it proper? Not, right? But it's a different story. But halachically, we allow them to wash dishes because it's for enjoyment of Shabbos. If one has 10 soiled dishes and needs only one clean dish, she is allowed to wash all 10, as we said before. So she did not decide which one. This is because one can claim regarding each dish that this is the one she wants to use. Okay, so Mishnah Brura, so okay, we don't argue. If that's what they want, there is no problem. But to wash the dishes on Shabbos is very inconvenient, right? So first of all, you cannot use hot water, and you cannot use sponge. So and you cannot use all of the dishwasher soaps. So, okay, it is possible to wash, but very inconvenient. If one has other utensils that are clean and able to be used, I mean the right side, etc., it is recommended that one not wash the soiled one. One use the ones that are clean. So it's proper, absolutely proper, especially if you live in the Western world, so to buy yourself enough dishes so you can survive 3 days in a row, right? So when there are two holidays connected to Shabbos. So in this case, you would not need to clean, to wash dishes. Okay, but if not, so okay, well, what can you do? But it's very recommend so don't look for a loophole. So if you have clean dishes, so why would you wash these ones? Okay. If dishes are soiled and one is not going to use them again on Shabbos, some poskim maintain one is still allowed to rinse them to prevent the leftover food sticking to the dishes. Okay. So it's some, not everybody, making it more difficult to wash after Shabbos. Others disagree. So as we said, don't do it. It is therefore preferable to refrain from doing so. So, but as I said, this I suggest to someone that they would wash the dishes, this and that, because the food is going to stick. So that's what I told them, to buy this dish pan. It costs, I don't know, like $4, $5, and that's it. You put water. And on Friday night, you put hot water in there. You put dishes, and it's perfectly clean. Okay. Any questions on what we said? Okay. Okay, no problem. So there were a few questions on WhatsApp. I don't remember all of them. If we can, but I remember some of them. So one of them was about the nighttime Shema, and it was Shlomo HaMelech, and then he said that 60 warriors are surrounding his bed. So our sages, this verse is taken from Shirashim. I do not have a detailed commentary on Shirashim, unfortunately. I have detailed commentary on many other things, but not on Shirashim. But the simple explanation, I have like a brief commentary. So like the straightforward explanation, this 60, what is 60? Corresponds to 60 myriads. 60 myriad is 10,000, right? So it's 600,000, meaning the Jewish nation. So it's how many people, approximately how many people left Egypt, right? Egypt bondage, 600,000. So he's saying like the whole Israel is around me, around my bed. So he felt responsible. Shlomo HaMelech, he felt responsible for all of these people. So that's one thing. Can somebody please read what was the other questions? Don't remember. Sorry. Joshua, are you there?
Yes, hold on.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Thank you very much. Thank you. So go ahead.
I think
Okay, if
the one I see,
go ahead.
when we keep our Netilat Yadayim on the
Oh
ground
yeah,
next to the
next to the bed. Yeah. So I apologize. Yeah, I remember now. So the question was if you have a Netilat Yadayim and it's proper to have next to your bed, right? So you would not walk, as Shulchan Aruch says, 4 amos. 4 amos, it's 8 feet, little less than 2 meters, like and less than 8. No, not 2 feet. 4 amos is less than 8 feet, between 7 and 8 feet approximately, right? So it's so sometimes animal pets would come and drink from there. There is no problem. So you can wash the liquid is clean. There is no problem for these purposes. And what was the question before that? I don't remember. Or if you start reading, I will remember. Should have written them down, sorry.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm listening.
The challah that's in the freezer, can only one be from the freezer, or can both of them be prepared? It was my understanding that in theory, there's 2 questions in one actually here. One is which challah can be frozen, if not both, just one. And then my second question is to do the blessing over the taking of challah, how much flour do you have to use? Is it 2.5 pounds or 5 pounds, or is it in between?
No, so now you mixing things together. So let's start from first question is very simple. So we said that one challah can be from freezer. Why? Because even though we have this mitzvah Lechem Mishneh, we need to have 2 breads, but you're going to eat from one. Usually people eat from one bread, right? I mean, if it's tiny, tiny like a roll, so like you would need 2. But otherwise, like if it's normal size of challah, so you would eat from one. So since you're not going to eat from second one anyway, so it could be frozen. But if you take 2 frozen challahs, how is it going to work? Right? It's like it's like a stone. You understand? It's not inedible. So it's first question. Second is when you say challah, I apologize. It is confusing. Challah means breads, not the piece that we separate. Piece that we separate from challah, from bread, is also called challah, but it's different story. It's actually proper not to separate from challah, but from dough. When you mix in the dough, you make in bread. So that's when you separate this piece of dough, and we call it also challah. But when you bake this dough into challah, that's what we call challah. Also, so one same word from 2 different things. So okay, go ahead. Please clarify what else we didn't answer. It was third question. Okay, no, Thomas, you want to continue? Okay, can some, yeah, go ahead, JP, please.
Rabbi, one of the questions is from the Bedtime. What you were mentioning in the beginning, Bedtime, right? That book that you have in the beginning is a Bedtime. You were saying when you're praying the Shema and Esper and you don't
concentrate,
like you can't focus on it. Is it recommended to slow down the prayer a little bit so you can focus on the words?
Of course.
Or
of course.
Should you stop for a little bit?
That's the proper way. Okay. Whatever you're saying, that's a proper way, and that's what Shulchan Aruch says. So if it says clearly, whatever it says. So if somebody have these improper thoughts, with like different improper thoughts, so a person must stop and try to get rid of these thoughts. He's not allowed to continue praying with his thought. He's thinking about his his neighbor, right? His neighbor's wife. That's not proper. You understand? So he has to get rid of these thoughts, and there is a methods how to do that. And then continue praying. Absolutely right. What we are saying in that book, it's like after the fact. So a person just space out, and he like turning the pages, and I saw a few times in my life. So I was passing someone, and he said, and he had the siddur upside down. You understand? Shabbos. So person on Shabbos is a long prayer. So a person opened up the siddur, and he was talking to somebody the whole prayer, and he was making this motion to turn the pages. Siddur was upside down. I don't know how long. Maybe from the beginning. You understand? So, but it's proper to stop, concentrate, and continue. But if person like already after the fact, he's on the last 2 pages, let's say on the last 3 blessings, so try to get as much as you can. Don't just like give up to it's a hara and say, okay, I lost. No. You try to fight.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Please.
If I printed out things before with the holy name on it, and I don't need the paper anymore, do I bury it?
Okay, so thank you very much. I forgot it's also this question. So yes, if it says the holy name, and not only holy name, if you have even Torah thoughts, right? Torah like from a parsha, and instead of the holy name, it would be Yud, for example, or Yud Hey, right? Two letters. It's still holy, and we must bury usually in a synagogue. There is they provide this service, so they would collect into the box and then pay to somebody, and somebody would take into the woods or somewhere, or a person would buy a plot somewhere like upstate or out of state and bury. But if you have your own farm, for example, you have your own place, so you're allowed to bury. There is no problem. So just make sure that you bury in a respectful manner. You dig your hole in a place where people do not walk. So somewhere under the tree, like somewhere, like somewhere, right? So that's what we do. We bury that and leave it there. That's correct. You're welcome. What else? Go ahead.
You first.
Okay, go ahead. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Since righteous Noahites are neither idol worshippers who believe in the New Testament, nor are they Jew, are they still allowed to read the Bible?
Oh, that's an amazing question. Absolutely, they should read the Bible. When by Bible we mean Torah. But if they ask you what to read, so you must give them or tell them at least, and not give it's a different story. It costs money, but at least you must point out to them that they must read with a commentary of Rashi. So that's the best. So there is a set out there. If you want, I can send you the link. So, and they should read with a commentary. So I'm going to tell the story that happened to me. So I have different classes. So and some people some non-Jews. So they ask me is it a sin for to eat pig? I said it depends who you are. If you're not a Jew, there is no sin to eat the pig. You can eat the pig, but they asked me how Christian allowed the pig. I told them why it's for Noahites there is no problem to eat the pig. If you kill the pig, that's it. It's for you it's allowed. There is no problem. But they told me, so few people told me but they say from the Torah that is allowed to eat a pig for everybody. So, and it happened, I hope I did not say the story because I said the story a few times already. So we have a channel, right? We have a channel in different countries, right? And after our video, it was suggested video. And it was a priest, and he said exactly the title. So of course I did not look into it. So I knew the answer. So the title was why Christians allowed to eat pig. I say, look, of course it's not allowed, but in the bathroom you're allowed to listen to this. No problem, right? So of course I put this in the bathroom, not to waste time. And this guy very seriously, with a long beard, and he said, yeah, and he opened the Bible, whatever they call Bible, right? And they say, yeah, it says here in Old Testament that you're not allowed to eat pig. And he said, seriously, of course he made many mistakes, but he said not only that, he said even if you look at the story of Noah knew that some animals were pure, some animals were impure, and there's a purity and impurity, and you have to wash hands. Of course he mixed everything up, but the video is 6 minutes and 53 seconds approximately, right? And he builds up the case, and it's minute number 5 or 5.5. And I look at this guy. You put yourself in a hole. How you're going to get out of this? Just skip some facts, how you would say that it's allowed to eat the pig, and then they say, and then he comes. Okay, after what we say, we open false testament, what they call New Testament, false testament, and we read. I'm not going to mention these books, even though I remember what he said. So he said, and Yoshke said, it's unbelievable. Yoshke said that does not matter what comes into your mouth. It's matter what comes out of your mouth. You understand? So he said, very important, what's in your heart, whatever you feel, it's going to come out of your mouth. That's why so you can eat whatever you want. That's it. So that was his commentary, his explanation for the whole Torah, for the whole eating pig. Of course, I mean, if somebody have an ounce of brain in their head, normal, that's what people buy, this craziness. So, and my question was why would you do 5.5, almost 6 minutes? He did 6 minutes from all of the sources of the Torah, even though he mixed up some things, but more or less he was correct, more or less. And then threw everything in the garbage, but in our book it says that what means the important what comes out of your mouth. You understand? So of course, so they take verses from nowhere and they interpret whatever they want. So whatever it says in Torah, they throw in the garbage and they read from whatever they want and interpret whatever any way they want. So of course, the point is that you have to give these Noahites a chance and read the Torah. The Torah itself is a proper commentary, because many times you read Rashi, and if you read the direct translation and how Rashi translates, it's opposite. It's nothing close to it, right? When it says hand for hand, eye for eye, right? So and they take it literally. It's not. It says clearly it's value of the eye, so you have to pay in value of the eye. That's there are no two opinions about it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's proper to give them the truth, give them the Torah. Of course, they're not obligated to convert. They're obligated to follow the 7 laws of Noah, but we must tell them the truth. Absolutely. Okay. Could you please check? Was one more question online, please?
Yes. What is the meaning behind the couch of Shlomo that we read?
No, we did it. It was we did this one, but after that, just from today, somebody posted today.
I think that was it. The one they asked already about the paper.
No, but after that, could you check? Somebody just posted a few minutes ago.
And the other one was about the Netilat Yadayim. That was the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the last one.
Okay, Jose, go ahead. Yes.
Rabbi, one of the reasons I know when we pray, like you're supposed to pray in a private area, but why is it? Because the explanation here, it says that we shouldn't pray in an open space such as a field for praying in a closed area causes one to imbue with all of the king and the heart to be contrite and humble. But why is it that we can't pray in an open space such as a field? Like, I know in a private place you feel humble, but why can't we pray in a field?
Okay, so exactly, that's a good question. So first of all, like when you pray in a field, practical explanation that the Shulchan Aruch brings, that you cannot concentrate. It's too much is going on all around you. So it's proper if you're in the field, so you're alone, you're not going to. You go next to the tree, right? You go next to the tree and you pray like next to like facing the tree. So to concentrate better. And they say in the same laws of Shulchan Aruch, they say even when you're in a synagogue, it is proper if possible. When you pray next to the wall, or pray to that some kind of like piece of furniture that like right in front of you, so you don't see what's going on around. So that's for concentration for sure. Right, when some people, so how do you know somebody is a clown? Like very often it's almost guaranteed. Like in our days, in all the when the shul is full, like when it's 300 people and 259 people come, it's different story. There is no room. It's like every seat is taken. But if there is a room and people who like to talk, who like to socialize, who like to come to see who comes late, they're always in the back. All of them, all of the clowns who talk, so they all of them in the back. So you understand? Of course they cannot concentrate. So somebody comes late, they have to turn their back. Somebody goes to the bathroom, they have to turn their back to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. So they cannot concentrate. So, but if you like move closer to the front, if you like in front something, it's much easier to concentrate. That's a practical answer. Thank you. Any other questions? I'm not sure how is it possible that I think Tatiana put this message on WhatsApp. I'm not sure how we don't see it.
Yeah, it was the same about the papers.
Oh, it was about papers. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
I did have another question.
Please go ahead. Please.
If let's say we make some fresh challah, and we forgot to separate with the blessing. Is there any punishment for that, or how do we fix that, or is there any way to correct that?
Okay. So, so let's start with the most difficult case. Most difficult case would be on Shabbos, right? Because why is it most difficult case? Because that's from the topic that we learned today, and the topic was that you must have two whole breads, two whole challahs. So meaning if you cut a little from your bread, it's already not whole, right? Even though after the fact you fulfill the mitzvah, but you properly to do the mitzvah on the best level possible. So, and it's one thing. And on Shabbos we're not allowed to fix things. So this mitzvah called maki bepatish, it's one of the 39 restrictions. You're not allowed, as our sages say, you're not allowed to do the final act that makes it, for example, permissible. So after, like when you did not separate the challah, it's not permissible. Now you cut the piece. Now it became permissible. So it is not allowed on Shabbos. So, but what you can do, you can separate indirectly. So how you separate indirectly? So you say, okay, from this challah, from this bread meaning challah, bread challah, right? So I'm going to leave over some piece, like what I would leave for challah. Challah meaning a piece of dough. So in this case, so if you did not do this separation, does not mean you're absolved. No, This is a piece that in the olden days when we have temple, you would have to do to a coin. So coin does not have to lose because of our negligence. You understand? So you just lift over, and after Shabbos, you just cut this piece. So you leave over a little bigger piece from your challah bread. And then after Shabbos, you cut and you bread. Of course, you do without blessing. And this is going to be challah. That's how you fix it. It's the most difficult situation. But in other cases, for example, if it's during the week, so you're not obligated to have complete bread. So you can just cut bread, whatever this piece is a challah, and continue eating. That's it. There is no problem. So you can basically after the fact you can cut from a final product. Okay, go ahead.
Rabbi, isn't there a certain amount of flour to be used in order to cut the dough for challah?
Yes. So if in order, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find, but in order to say it with a blessing, so it must be 5 pounds, a little less than 5 pounds, almost 5 pounds of flour. So if somebody ever baked, so it's a lot. Unless you have huge family, that's a lot. So how many challahs, that depends on the size, but it's a lot. So some people would make, they want to do the mitzvah of challah with the blessing. So they would make more challahs and then freeze after they bake, right? So, I mean, that's also option. You would not need to bake every Friday, right? You can bake and use these challahs for the next month or so. And the second thing, if you want to, I need to give you exact number. I think it's 2.3 or 2.5, 2.5 or maybe or 2.7. I need to look up pounds without the blessing. So if it's less than that, there is no separation whatsoever. If it's more than 2. Something like I say more than 2.5, you separate but without the blessing. You understand? So the question is, are you obligated to separate? No, you're not obligated to separate. So if you have so much dough, then you would be obligated. But if you don't have so much, like you bake only few breads and it's like under 2 pounds, so that's it. You don't separate. Okay. Understand? Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Any other questions? Okay, so basically, just to finish this thought, there is some positive commandments that are out there, but we're not obligated to do them unless we are under such circumstances. For example, it says that there is a mitzvah to divorce your wife. So you're not obligated to divorce your wife to fulfill the mitzvah, right? But if you decide to like not to decide for circumstances like this, have to divorce your wife, that's then you do accordingly. So if you don't have, for example, you're not obligated to eat meat. So, but if you decided to eat meat, you have to do it in a certain fashion. Or if you're going to have enough dough or enough like flour in the dough, so then you separate. Otherwise, you're not obligated. So, but as we said, some women and they put themselves in this situation that they separate. So it's praiseworthy, but not obligatory. Okay. Any questions? Other questions, or we stop here? Okay, no problem. So let's stop here. So tomorrow we're going to continue with Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And good night until tomorrow. Thank you.